This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic. And we're back to the original because, let's be honest, Blade Runner 2049, no quotable lines.
No, not really.
No quotable lines in this movie, and welcome
Could not figure out something to quote.
Welcome into our review of Blade Runner 2049. How we do it, if you are new to our movie reviews here, is we're going to stick in a non-spoilery mode, kind of tell us some general things we liked and didn't like about the movie. Then we'll really get into spoiler mode, and then we will end the podcast giving two things. One, our rating, which are we going to give it out of replicas? Are we going to do it out of...
We'll do it out of replicants.
Out of replicants. So we'll give it out of 5 replicants. How many replicants we give it? I'm saying replicants a lot, and I should stop saying replicants.
Well, that way you actually say it instead of replicas.
And then we will also give our show stealer, which is basically our MVP. I feel like this one is kind of easy just because of how the film played out.
Yeah.
And let's get into it. Let's get into non-spoiler section. And this movie, first off, is long. It's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, it is.
But it doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie.
No.
And
which is good because you don't want it to feel like one.
And the thing that you were telling me before we hit the record button was you thought there was going to be more action in this movie.
I did, honestly. I mean, I'll be honest. I've never seen the full Blade Runner, the full original.
The first one.
But just like what they kind of showed and what they kind of made it feel like in the trailers, it's going to be more action-packed.
With me, I felt like this movie was very like halfway, not even halfway through. There was a good part of it where, because most of it you're following Ryan Gosling's character.
Yeah.
And it's a movie where A, there's a lot of tension, B, there is a lot of story development.
It is.
But I was getting to a part where after a while, and this had to be before halfway through the movie, I'm just sitting there going, when's Harrison Ford going to be there? When are we getting to Harrison Ford? And the more we went, it wasn't like I just came for Harrison Ford.
No.
But I thought to myself through this movie, oh, great, they're going to throw him in at the end.
Yeah. They're
going to throw him in at the end to appease the people that saw the original, and they'll tie it into the story somehow. Otherwise, like this movie didn't exactly, I don't want to say it didn't make sense to me, because it did. The storyline did make sense. It's just, I don't know if I would go see it again. I don't know if you said, hey, Ricky, we're going to see Blade Runner again. I would say, yeah, sure, I'll go. I'd probably be like, you know what? Call me when you finish the movie.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a Mummy situation. Like, right there,
just complete
it's not
disappointment.
It wasn't a disappointment. It's just, maybe it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying it's a bad movie. Like, this is a hard movie for if someone said to me, hey, should I go see it? What I would tell them. Because part of me wants to say no, but then there's also part of me that's like, you know what, Ricky, you didn't hate the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it at the end. So, I mean, if you want to go see it, go see it. Like, I'm very in the middle of what I would say if someone asked me, hey, should I go see it?
I think what I would end up doing is like giving them a brief non-spoiler synopsis of what to expect out of it. If they would want that, and say, you know what, if you're into that kind of stuff, go see it. If not, wait till it comes out.
That's exactly what I like.
Yeah.
To me, I felt like more action. I thought there was going to be. I didn't expect the plot to move as slowly as it did either.
No, it actually dragged.
It kind of moved at a snail's pace at times.
Well, let's put it this way: when I'm saying it moves slow, that's saying something, because Ricky's
and
the
you
one
like that.
I don't know. It's not. I like it. In certain movies, it's good. Certain movies just kind of need to get moving. But it's like this one was a slow development, and that's saying something for me. Ricky's the one that jumps in, is like, it needs to move.
I like quick moving things. That's why this one, not really my cup of tea, only because of how slowly it moved.
Yeah.
However, when we did get to the end, I was like, okay, here we go. It's picking up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the ending completely just messes with you. But
Threw you for a loop.
Anything that you want to mention before we get in? We'll get into spoiler mode. Anything you want to mention about this movie, likes, dislikes in general, before we get into?
No, I think
mode?
we need to get a spoiler so we can talk a little bit specifics of the likes and dislikes without ruining things for them.
So this is where if you want to go see the movie, you don't want anything spoiled, go ahead, hit that pause button. Johnny and I will be here waiting for you. If you don't care, though, you can move right on through into spoiler mode. But Johnny, let's get into spoiler mode. And the first thing I want to start with is the ending to all this, because the ending is kind of what the fucky, where it's basically like, whoa, what just happened? And the thing I want to throw out there first is that Mark Miller, comic book writer, has thrown out his kind of theory on the ending. And this is from ScreenRants.com, where they say, writing in the forums for his website Millarworld, Miller posts that the film's final scene transition from Kay in the snow to Anna in her incubation chamber creating memories of the snow is the key to a big twist. That none of the previous story involving Kay actually happened, that it was all a fake memory implanted into Deckard's mind by his daughter in attempt to get them to reunite. This would seem to answer the long-standing question of if Deckard is a replicant. He is, and makes the entire film one of father-daughter compassion. And that whole quote. I'm going to ask you, what did you see from the ending? Because my whole thing was, what the fuck just happened? Like, it just felt like, hey, here he is. He's going to see his daughter, and it ends.
See, I didn't get that, what they're saying from that. I get it that it seems like he's a replicant. So was his wife. His daughter is basically the offbred of two replicants. It's still kind of debatable. It almost seems like he may not be a replicant. He may be human still. I never see. Again, I've said in the first part earlier in this before in non-spoiler mode, I honestly haven't seen the whole thing, so I couldn't say. So I mean, you have an offbred. It's like the first bred replicant. So she doesn't have like a serial number, have any of that stuff. So the more to me, it was the twist of most of it. We thought that Kay was the child because the document said, "Oh, the girl died," and there was Kay, exact matching DNA, which was a weird one. But no, he didn't even red flag it, so we didn't. And then it gets to the end, near the end, where it's like, "Oh no, she had a girl." So it's like, so they had a replicant made based off of her DNA, but made it as a boy and implanted at least
her memories,
or at least one main memory of hers.
Because that's what you get when she was looking into his memory. The reason why she's also crying,
it's because it was her.
It's her memory.
Yeah,
but in him,
and she automatically goes, "This is a real memory," and it's like, was it just at first I started wondering, and this could be, I don't know if you were too. It's like, was it that like emotional to her, like?
That's what I was thinking. I kind of thought of like, okay, so he's part human? Is that what this is? And he's got his own memory, and it was just so powerful that like she starts crying as well.
Because it's like, she's like, well, if there's emotion to it, it's a real memory. But then like it makes sense at the end why she cried for that memory, because it was her memory. Yeah. Because they when he meets the resistance of replicants, they say, no, I was there when the child was born. It was a girl. I wrapped her in blue clothing, and we sent her off. And so it's like just kind of it becomes the mind fucked in a sense, a huge twist of like, so Kay going like from Kay is fake to Kay is real to Kay is fake, and has to sacrifice himself for the greater good. And it's like, just because you're a replicant doesn't mean you can't make your own decisions type thing. Yeah,
and I mean, that's the whole... That whole twist, I'll be honest, completely got me. I was not expecting...
No, I wasn't either.
I wasn't expecting her to be the main one. I was expecting... And there was a reason why then in the files, when he said, "Oh, there's 2 of them and the girl's deceased," there's a reason why they picked the female one to be deceased.
Yeah, so it'd throw off the trail.
Because everything would be like, "Oh, well, she's dead. We're looking for a boy. We're looking for a son. That is what we are looking for."
Exactly.
And that was the whole thing with love in this too. And the one thing I want to throw out here, this kind of goes off, because the ending, I don't want to theorize on it, only because I was sitting there at the end going, what the fuck just happened? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I get what we're doing here. He's going to see his daughter, but it felt like it ended so abruptly to me.
Yeah.
And the thing one thing I didn't like about this movie was the main bad guy. Well, villainess, I should say. Because I kind of feel like I was misadvertised too. Yeah. Because throughout all the trailers, Jared Leto seemed like he was going to be the villain.
The main villain.
He was in it for a little bit.
Yeah.
For a little bit. And I told you after, maybe because I'm not connected to his character in this as much as I was the Joker, I actually liked him in this.
I did too.
I thought he did a good job with his character. He played his character well. I just thought I was what's the word I'm looking
for?
Misdirected, yeah. Into thinking that the villain was going to be one person when it was actually another.
Well, it kind of was him to some degree.
But it was really her pulling the strings.
No. I mean, the overall plan was he wanted these things to happen. She was the one that was making them happen. She was the one making them happen.
But what I'm saying is one could see it as he's off doing his own thing and she's the one running this operation to where I would have liked to see more of him because isn't he supposed to be Wallace, the main guy behind everything? Yeah,
and I think I think overall he was pulling the strings. It's just he left a lot of those orders because technically these new replicants are supposed to be obedient, and that's how he bred them or made them or however you want to, whatever you want to say it.
Puts them out of the chute and they just
drop out of that bag. And it's like, well, they're supposed to listen. So like, I mean, he gives her orders. He left them way open to interpretation though. So I mean, if you think about it, they still have their own cognitive ideas of stuff. But so he just told her, hey, do this. Didn't say how, didn't say what way to go about it. Make sure no one dies. Be conspicuous about it. No.
Like, I mean, the fight scene that she had with Kay was cool.
It was.
I feel like overall the villain thing didn't have as much weight as I think it could have.
She honestly, it
had nothing to do with how she played the character. I just think of how it was written. Was where that kind of falls into that pothole.
Oh no, I agree with you when you said like I thought Jared Leto as Neander Wallace was going to be the main villain. I thought he was going to have a bigger role in it than he did. I mean, he had the overall arc of, hey, I want you to do this. She's the one that made it truly villainous, though, because of the way she went about doing all this stuff.
It's kind of like, I'm going to bring Kingsman 1 into it.
Okay.
You had Samuel L. Jackson's character as the mastermind, but you also had Knifey Legs as the one.
Knifey Legs.
Can't remember.
I don't either. That's fine.
Knifey Legs as the main person. That's how I thought it was going to be in this. Wallace is the main baddie. She's kind of the sidekick. And
she still kind of is. But at the same time, she takes a bigger role of being
but we didn't see much of Wallace. That's what I'm saying. My problem.
I'm just saying that. Yeah, no, I'm not arguing with you about it. I'm just stating.
I'm just putting it out there so everyone can see where I'm coming from.
I know. I'm agreeing with you in that aspect.
Johnny's stop arguing with me. I'm
not arguing with you. I'm agreeing with you that aspect. I'm just pointing out too that he was the one with the overall control of things. She was the one that brought the truly villainous nature to it because killing people just. I mean, like, when she, has the visors on, and she's like, to the left, fire, to the right, fire. He didn't tell her to do that.
She was doing that.
She was doing that on her own. He just gave her the overall idea of, I want this to happen.
Yeah, and
do whatever you need to do to happen.
The child.
She killed the lieutenant. And that was the weirdest
And she
part.
said, I'll just tell Wallace you attacked me.
Yeah, I said, I'll just tell Wallace you pulled a gun on me. Mm-hmm. Like, even just to go as far as, like, she's about to take a drink, smashes it in the lieutenant's hand.
Mm-hmm. So it's glass.
She's pushing, like, it's smashed glass, and she's closing her hand more and more into it.
Yeah.
That's what brought, like, the truly villainous nature out in the Wallace company.
Here's another thing I want to bring, kind of jumping around now, is I want to go back to Kay for a second.
Okay.
Because not only... The thing is with Kay, of course, this is all about him. This is his story.
Yeah.
The thing that was also like a what the fuck kind of moment was not only at the end does he have to basically be like, great, I thought I had purpose and now I don't. But also through this entire movie, he had an AI that he felt like
Joe.
He had a connection with. Yeah, Joe. That he felt like he had a connection with. That he felt like basically it made him feel like he had a companion. Yeah. To where she even like melded with, let's be honest, a prostitute. Yeah. And melded to that
she
prostitute. She
synchronized with a prostitute so she can
have sex with him.
Yeah. Well, and let him have sex with her.
The thing that was kind of like a what the fuck moment is after she gets destroyed. And right before she gets destroyed, she goes, I love you. Boom. Dead.
Smashed, yeah.
Off of everything. However, he's then walking towards the end and he sees like the big like
promo
naked promo where I was like, whoa, she's actually naked in the movie. It wasn't like this in the trailer. And she goes like, hey, big guy. And it's like you can see him looking like, oh, you meant like I was nothing. You were programmed to feel. You were programmed to make me feel that way. Yeah. Or it was kind of like that. He looked like not even that was real. Like what in my life? Like what in my life was real? Yeah, that's what that kind of spoke out to me. With that is just not even the relationship he thought he had, and I use air quotes because it was AI. Not even that was real.
Yeah, the only part that made it seem real is like she's like, you know what? And this is where it like gets to be the AI. You wonder if it was like
going off the grid.
Going off the grid. Yeah. I mean, you think the AI itself, even though it's programmed to kind of like be the companion. Yeah. Do you think it would have actually suggested, put me on the stick, wipe the hard drive.
See, and that's the thing.
Pull the tab out. Like, I mean, that's going pretty far for an AI. And I mean, it's programmed to show love and I get it. But I guess it is make it a falsified relationship in a sense. But and then like it kind of, I can see it as one of two ways. Like because the advertisement actually focuses on him and goes, "You're a good Joe," and it's like, oh shit. So she just picked the name Joe because that's technically hers.
Yeah, it's not really my name.
It's not exactly.
That's what was programmed up in here, and she just said it.
Yeah, so I mean, it brings
which I made the joke of. Nah, I think he looks more like a Ryan to me. Looks more like a Ryan, not a Joe.
Yeah, no, and it like brings out a falsified relationship. Excuse me, but it did give him that someone to love or someone that loved him. Yeah, feeling up until the very end, and even and that was just kind of a weird thing, and I just wonder what the character is actually supposed to feel at that point. Because part of it was, okay, so none of that relationship was real. That at the same time, it almost seemed like
did the AI go, like, there's that little part, did it go rogue off the grid? Yeah, did it go rogue? And it actually cared because you actually got, like you said, it said, put me on the stick, crack the thing so they can't find, they can't track me.
Break off the antenna. She hired a hooker to meld with, or
phase or
whatever they called it,
to sync
with. There we go. To sync with, so she can give him a body to feel like she had sex with him.
So they can have sex together.
And even like she almost became like the jealous girlfriend that next morning and said, "You can leave. I'm done with you." Yeah. I'm like, wow.
Which is funny because then the hooker put like a tracking device in his pocket. Yeah. Which was like great. Like that was basically love. Getting another replicant to, that's what I saw it as.
That's what I thought of it
getting
as
a replicant to track where he's going to go, because it was never that Kay's the child. It was Kay's going to lead us to the child.
Exactly.
And the thing that I just had it in my head and now I lost it. But overall, we talked about it before, this movie, it kind of drags and it kind of goes really slow.
Yeah, it does.
But it's all about Kay. Like, Kay's the main person. And I just had what I was going to say and I lost it. It had to do with Kay in a way. We were talking about Joe. We were talking about the relationship that they had. That was it. Just with the tension and everything. Did you think that this movie with Kay and how everything kind of moved out, did you think it needed to be as slow and have as much tension as it did? Because this kind of seemed like just one long ride of just there's tension here and I don't like it.
Tension maybe could have stayed. I mean, it depends on how they play. They could have probably compacted.
Like even when they were in Las Vegas and it was just silent. Nothing. Except for the person whose phone went off in our theater.
Yeah, and you thought it was part of the movie.
I did. I was like, oh, that's...
With the soundtrack, I don't blame you.
I'm like, that's a weird stylistic choice.
It had a really Book of Eli soundtrack, which I liked.
Even that scene where it was just like dead silent and nothing. And you're just sitting there like...
No, I feel like the tension kind of made it the movie it needed to be. But the big thing was it did go too slow. And that's, again, that's me saying a lot because I'm pretty patient and I don't really say that about movies. So for me to say it's going slow is, yeah, it probably should have been a little bit quicker pace because a lot of parts didn't need to be as slow as they were.
Well, and I'm reading here now, there's an article that I have here from the Screen Rant again.
Yeah.
And basically the title is, Why Was Blade Runner 2049 So Boring? And they basically go on to basically say, they set it up to say like, you have unfortunately the modern movie going experience is so dominated by outside opinion, aggregated score, and a ruthless marketing hype machine that it can be difficult to simply just watch a movie and reach your own conclusion.
Yeah.
Like nowadays it's all, what kind of score did it get on Rotten Tomato? What are we, like, people come to us, what are we thinking about the movie? What is your favorite reviewer thinking about the movie? The hype machine of the trailers that go into it. And the main quote that I was going to read, though, is the article says, and I quote, "That said, Blade Runner 2049 can be a boring movie, despite being impeccably mounted by luciously staged. The sequel to the 1983 cult classic fails to do much else than simply look good. In the Instagram era of our time, sometimes that's all you need to do to succeed. In peeling back the layers of Denis Villeneuve's latest epic, however, some audiences have failed to find a beating heart or an engine of human motivation. Though it carries a nearly 3-hour runtime, there's hardly a pulse-pounding moment to be had in any second of this film. Though critics have almost universally praised the film, some moviegoers are wondering what the big deal was. If you fell asleep during the movie, you really aren't alone." And that is me basically right here. Hello. I did for a little bit. And that is why. That is why. Because I felt like it was just so slowly paced. It wasn't like wow, this story isn't interesting, but it was just like okay, when's something going to happen? When's something really going to happen? And that's what it felt like to me. And that's why you even had to nudge me during that. Because you, like you said, you looked over and you're like, fuck, is he asleep? Is he asleep? That to me looks at like your movies automatically, if I fall asleep in your movie, you're not getting a 4 or 5. Yeah. So basically if you guys have been listening now, I've toned it down to 2 numbers. It's either getting a 2 or a 3. That's what we're going to probably do in the last segment. Well, that's what we are going to do in the last segment, but that's what I'm probably going to give it in the last segment. If someone were to ask you, is Blade Runner 2049 boring, what would you say? Yes or no?
I don't want to say yes because the storyline overall is a good storyline. It's just too drawn out. It's too long. It's too slow. So that's what.
Did it need to be 3 hours?
No.
Did it need to be 3 hours?
Compact
That's the main question.
Compact it a little bit, or throw some. If you're gonna make it 3 hours, throw some more action in there. I honestly expected more action than what was in there.
Well, and you know what else kind of made me, the Screen Rant article that I just read, you know what it made me think of? It made me think of Valerian.
Yeah.
Valerian, a film you liked it more than I did, I think.
Yeah, well, I also didn't have the background that you did
but,
with it.
I mean, also, that's a movie to me where it's like, holy shit, visually is amazing, story not so good.
Yeah, I mean, I like the development in the beginning and everything. I like the development through certain parts of the movie, but they're overall
And I'm not
not
saying,
the best storyline.
I'm not saying this story was as hold as Valerian, but still could have been a lot better.
Oh,
Could have been a lot less slow, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you take the overall, let's just say
overall synopsis.
If you were able to take just the overall synopsis of the movie, would you say it's a good storyline?
I would say you have something there that could work into a successful movie.
Like if it weren't, let's just say, I mean, taking away.
Yes, I would say you could
taking
make
away
that,
with how long it was.
Yes.
If you just take the synopsis.
Yes. I could say
storyline's a good.
That's
storyline.
a solid storyline for you to work on.
I mean, throw some more action in there or shorten up the movie. I think you would have had a better movie.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. Like the 3 hour runtime, it's like, does it need to be that long? And like even in the beginning, it starts out slow and it just keeps that pace all the way through until really when you get to Harrison Ford. But then after that, it kind of goes back to it, but then not really, and then it goes back to it for the final scene. But yeah, it was just. If someone asked me, hey, is it boring? I would say yes. Only because I fell asleep for a certain time. That means obviously I was bored at some time or bored enough to actually close my eyes. And 2, I mean, it seemed like it could have been condensed a little bit more. Condensed.
Yeah, I agree.
Added some action to it with getting across what you needed to get across. But Johnny, let's end the movie review. And how we do it, we give our show stealer, we give our reward, our kind of 5 out of 5 stars, but this one we're doing replicas.
Replicants.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Like, my show stealer is the one to me it could only be, and that's Ryan Gosling. I mean, only because like the story was all about him. There wasn't enough from other characters to say, yeah, I'll give it to that one.
No.
And plus
I
how
agree.
he did with Kay, like you said earlier, kind of playing technically a robot who is not human, who then is feeling very human emotions of like feeling worth from both his girlfriend and then the worth of thinking you're the one, but then also having that worth taken away from you and have the rug pulled from under you.
Not that. He was also, let's not forget, there's one scene that shows it perfectly, showing fear. When he gets told that, oh, that memory is real.
Yeah.
And he just jumps up, yells the word, fuck, and throws the chair. I don't remember what the swear word actually was, but he just
But she wasn't saying that. She wasn't saying it was a real memory for you.
No, but
a real memory for her.
But it inferred that.
I know, because he didn't know that she was who she was.
No, exactly. So I mean that showing that too, like you're supposed to be emotionless. Now you're starting to feel these emotions. So the first one we see blatantly is fear. Because shit, I am the child is what the movie directed it towards. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm giving it to Ryan Gosling, but I don't want to throw an honorable mention out there.
You like to throw these honorable mentions out there.
I do, because sometimes people. Well, I mean, I think what was the last movie or the movie before we didn't actually have one.
Yeah, I just don't think in this one I wouldn't give out an honorable mention. I would only give Ryan Gosling the show stealer. And
he's got the show stealer, but I mean, just what Sylvia Hoeks did with Love, just how menacing she was, how villainous
she was.
Exactly. I give it to her because it went from like at first you just see her when we first meet her, she's just an obedient replicant, and it slowly morphs into this
So was she an older replicant too?
No, she was newer replicant. But just think about it this way: Ryan Gosling started getting his own thoughts, his own feelings, and started to look kind of.
So these new replicants aren't as
obedient as they
Ryan
think.
Gosling, was he a true new replicant, or was he a replicant made by the Deckard crew to throw everyone off the track from finding the real daughter?
I mean, there's part of that, but I mean, who would have made it unless they had like? So that's where it comes to the question.
I think he's an old replicant disguising himself as a new replicant. That's what I got the vibe.
Well, they would
from
have had
him.
to like wipe his memory and reimplant, which is really the only way we know of as of now. Is the replicant has to be given the memories right before they come out of that chute or the bag or whatever it is. As of what we know right now. So my thoughts really were the fact that I just lost it. I mean, back to what I was saying though.
About Ryan Gosling or
about love.
Love.
Is she morphed from this obedient thing or obedient thing. That was mean.
Well, she's a replicant.
A replicant.
A replicant's a thing.
Is it though?
I think
They
so.
start to have their own feelings, Ricky.
It's a robot. It's a thing.
Not a robot.
It's
It's
kind
more
of
like
a
a
robot.
clone.
It's kind of like it's an it.
No, it is a clown.
No. Stop it. A replicant is not a human. It is therefore
I'm
it.
going to stick with replicants.
Yes, go
It
ahead.
is a clown. Don't
I'm just basically saying you can call it not feel bad.
And I'm just messing with you.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
ahead,
With society nowadays.
Go ahead,
Anyways,
though.
no. What she morphed from a replicant that was obedient and just did what she was told, and he actually even seemed almost like timid.
Yeah.
To a replicant going to left, fire, to the right, up a little bit, fire. It's like then she's going this, and then she morphed to the very end of. What was the quote she said to
Basically,
him? I am the best.
Yeah.
She thought she was the best replicant. She thought she was the best thing. She even
Well,
said
because she was the right-hand woman.
exactly, but she was supposed to be obedient. And in the scene with the lieutenant, I'll just lie to him and tell him you should pull the gun on me. That's
Yeah.
not obedient.
No, it's not.
So that's like showing like she's morphing into more of the sadistic, the villainous side of things. So that's why I like that was with the short amount of scenes she got for that,
Yeah.
she did a good job of like morphing it from one thing
Because like
into
we
the
said,
next.
most of it was Ryan Gosling.
It was probably 80% Ryan Gosling,
maybe even
at
90%
least.
Ryan Gosling.
That's why I said. That's why I
at
had the
least.
tagger at least.
But now we get to the big part. We're giving it out of replicants. You go first. I gave the show stealer first. How many replicants are you giving it out of 5?
3. For one, you fell asleep. I
Yes.
didn't, but there was times I looked
That's
at
why I'm going to go with a 2.5.
Okay. There were times, I'll be honest, I did look at my watch. Part of it was because it would this thing vibrates.
Yeah.
It's attached to my phone. So it's like if I feel it
You
vibrate,
can turn those off though.
I could.
Bruh.
Do I want to? No, not
Just for
really.
a movie? You can't silence it for a movie?
No, it just vibrates. And like sometimes it's like right now, it's telling me to stretch.
Yeah.
Basically, there's times where it tells me, get off your ass.
And you're like, no, I'm watching
I'm like,
a movie.
no, and it'll just vibrate for that anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, you know what? And then I just make sure I have it on in case I get an important phone call or
Yeah.
important text.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I have it on. But I mean, there's times I looked at my watch.
It was just so slow.
and that's why. That's
Like,
why.
the one good thing that it had was exactly like I read from the Screen Rant article, is that visually it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing visually, especially what it was able to do with its special effects. But this was a movie where I kind of asked myself, because originally coming out of the movie, I thought, oh, is it a 3 or a 4? Because I'm like, you know what? It wasn't terrible. It was just so slow.
Yeah.
But then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? It was visually great. But like this story was so slow.
Yeah, that's the
And
reason.
it's just so like dragged out to where I'm like, okay, maybe it's a 2 or a 3. And that's why I'm putting it right in the middle at 2.5.
That's why I'm giving it a 3, because you know what? The storyline, if you just take the basic storyline of it, it's a great storyline. It was just so damn slow. And when I have to hesitate and say, well, like someone goes, hey, should I go see Blade Runner 2049? And I have to hesitate and go, well, if I have to say the words, well, if,
Then you know it's not
it's
a
not,
great movie.
it's not going to be a 4 or 5, honestly. If I can't just straight out recommend, yeah, go see it.
Then it's not a 4, it's not a 5.
Exactly.
If it's if it's a definite no, then it could be a 1.
2. It could be a 1 or a 2.
A 2, I would say, that's true. A 2, I would
2
be like,
waivers on the line of maybe to no.
Yeah, maybe
1 is
to
a no.
A 3 is like, it's up to you.
Yeah,
Do you
no,
wanna
and I
go?
like
Go.
how we're rating the scale in front of them right now.
Yeah, but that's basically what it is, and that's where I'm like, and that's where it perfectly is. Like
It
you
is.
would say to someone,
Well, if
maybe,
do you
if,
like this stuff?
Whereas I would say, probably not, and that's why 2.5 because I'm kind of like, but no, I would wait until it's like on Netflix or something.
Yeah, I mean,
until I don't have to pay for it.
Exactly.
Well, really, I'm paying for it, but I'm basically getting it. You guys know how Netflix works, but this is where you guys come in. If you guys have seen the movie, let us know what you guys think. What did you like? What did you dislike? Who's your show stealer? What's your rating? Let us know down below in the comment section. I want to thank you guys for either watching on YouTube or listening on Blog Talk Radio. If you have not already, make sure to check out patreon.com/most valuable podcast. You want to be on a podcast, there's a reward there for that. You want to get an exclusive Patreon podcast, there is a reward for that, for helping out the channel more so than hitting that like, subscribe button and actually watching our videos. I want to thank you guys yet again for watching and or listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody.